It is this kind of topic that if we actually got to see it in wholeness for what it truly is, we would be able to live our lives much more at a higher perspective, and we would be able to live life fully. Another perspective of this topic that will get you to really understand who you are as a human being and who you are as a person who took on a physical body to be in this physical world, to be a co-creator with this energy that we are going to be talking about today. Now, let me take this opportunity to invite everybody on this live session right now to simply close your eyes for a few seconds and imagine yourself tapping into this energy that all along has been unknown to you. Because this is an energy that is so sacred. It is an energy that is so vast. It is an energy that created the whole universe and the whole world. It is the energy that created us as human beings. As you breathe in that sacred energy. Let it enter into every fiber of your being. Allow it to get into every cell of your body. Feel it moving in every chakra of your energy centers, right from the base chakra, the root chakra. Breathe it in as you hear it ascending into the sacred chakra, into the solar plexus chakra, up into the heart chakra, that is the bridge between the lower chakras and the higher chakras. Let it continue up into your throat chakra, that area of speaking the truth. All the way to the third eye chakra and to the crown chakra. This sacred energy is all around us in its vastness. This sacred chakra is in this sacred energy is in every breath that we take. And as we exhale, we are sending this energy as creative energy, as sacred energy, to rebirth and to renew our planet. Allow yourself to feel the sensations that you are feeling in your body as you continue to breathe in this sacred energy. And let this sacred energy talk to you and communicate to you before this talk about what it actually is. Feel it centering in onto your heart. Feel its fire bathing you with that warmth, with that fire. Let that fire radiate from your heart. Let that fire radiate from your heart, not only into every part of your body, but into every environment, into those situations, into those circumstances, into those events, into the projects that you are creating, that project that needed this creative energy. to be able to break off, to be able to break even, and to be able to have a strong foundation. This sacred energy is not just physical. It is unseen, but it can be touched and it can be felt and it can be used in very many diverse ways, apart from the only way that we've ever known it to be. Take in 3 more in breaths and out breaths. And when you are ready, you can get back into the room that you are as we start our presentation. So today we talk about an interesting topic that has been treated as taboo, that has been kept hidden with secrets, culture around it, and it's not openly talked about. It has so much been misconceived and suppressed and heavily guarded with a lot of taboos. And it is most underappreciated aspect of mainstream spirituality. It is that creative energy out of which all things are created. It is the basis of our entire existence, where the most splendid, candid discoveries and innovations are gotten from. It is this fire within our hearts, and it can be used to heal and have spiritual freedom. Indeed, it is the silent revolution of spiritual freedom. And within us, there is a piece of that sacred energy within each and every one of us here. When we connect to that sacred energy, we connect to source. When we tap into a state where we are source, we will find peace within. This sacred energy is our human sexuality. It is that sacred spiritual sexuality. And it can be seen in various areas. For those who are celibate, as affective celibate sexuality. For those who are married, as marital sexual sensual intimacy. And it can also be used by scientists and most splendid geniuses as creative spiritual sexuality. And it can also heal us through this creative spiritual sexuality as we look deep to see how we can heal ourselves. So today, we see that sexuality is actually more than sexual behavior. Sexuality is not what we do, it's who we are, soul, spirit, and body. Sexuality is a multidimensional concept more than sex. How we experience ourselves as sexual beings, according to Rathus. Sexuality is how we think, it is how we act, and it is how we relate to others. And it is also how we relate to our environment and with the universal spirit. Our sexuality is rooted in the nature of the Creator Himself. That divine love that spoke the universe into existence. that sanctifying, redeeming grace and cosmic joy of forgiveness that supports, that orders, that sustains and holds into space and self-regulating as the universe. That life force maintaining and regulating our bodily systems and organs to function well. That's divine and conditional love. That is the sexual nature of spirit. In other words, spirituality is our sexuality, and sexuality is connected to spirit. We cannot separate sexuality and spirit. Therefore, spiritual sexuality is counter to what culture presents as sex. In modern society, sex is externally focused, and it is mistakenly identified with mainly genital sex. And because of this, there has been a divorce between sexuality and spirituality, and sexual energy has been cut off from the divine as purely secular and ungodly. However, it is the Creator's greatest gift to the planet and to humanity. The spiritual and physical are frequently put against one another. We are bodily oriented, always thinking spirituality versus sexuality. And this shouldn't be like that. We say that sexuality is of the body and spirituality is of a different dimension. And because of that, sex seems too earthly to be connected to spirit. But that is not the case. Our sexuality is always more than simply having sex. Having sex, that is genitality, is not the whole reality of sex. Sexual energy reduced to genitality is cut off from the divine. This word sex comes from the Latin word meaning secare, which means to cut off or to divide from. So sexuality taken to be sex, we are sexed, that is, we are cut off and we are divided from the divine, and therefore we become unwhole. When we are deeply sexed and cut off in our bodies and in every dimension of our being, when we are experiencing ourselves as cut off, this is going to be present in our thoughts. It's going to be present in our heartbeat. It's going to be present in every area of our personality, and it's going to color all our relationships. Because we will have cut ourselves off from the divine when we treat sex just as genitality. Sex is much wider, it's much bigger. We are charged with sexual energy that is just beyond sex. Physically, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, aesthetically, and we ache for union with something beyond ourselves. Aching for union beyond something beyond ourselves is actually what sexuality is all about. It is sacred union. So sex is the energy inside of us that works against us being alone. We ache for consummation, for a reunion with some wholeness, not seeing ourselves as cut off or as sexed. Sexual encounter is a foretaste of it. The glue in the soul can be animalistic and short, and it lasts only 22 seconds on average, leaving us constantly torn between infidelity and frustration, with so little friendships and love around, even within marriage. When friendship and love become too much linked to sex, it becomes easier to find a lover than a friend. Virginity, celibacy, chastity within deep friendships, and periodic abstinence in marriage are considered to be unrealistic. More people struggle with sexual issues. So experiencing sex this way, only as genitalia, takes us away from the present now moment. It takes us outside ourselves from communion with the soul. The present is the only truth there is, a possibility within us anytime, all the time. So our deepest hungers and longings are for relations beyond having sex as genitalia. Men and women can come together as more than lovers. And we can be whole when we do not link sexuality to sex alone. Sexuality is the best of all fires, and yet it is the most dangerous. A wild energy, a sacred fire for love, for creativity, for joy, for ecstasy, but also for hatred, death, destruction, and sadness, murder, and suicide. This sacred fire, therefore, is meant to be enjoyed as a gift given to us, and it has to be guarded by chastity. The spiritual task ahead of us, therefore, is to be able to treat this sexuality with chastity. Sexuality, therefore, is linked to marriage. It is also linked to celibacy, and it is linked to intellectual creativity. And because of this, we are beginning to see that there is more to sexuality than we have experienced so far. Sexuality is spiritual energy. It goes beyond physical sensations of pleasure and genital orgasms. Our hearts are opened into a wholeness of divine love and unity oneness. Our bodies move in waves of pleasure, and our souls soar in joy with divine sexuality. Therefore, practicing spiritual sexuality, we contact the sacred within, between, and beyond us. We experience sacred, complete brilliance fire that is our soul essence. This is who we are. Sexuality, therefore, is not simply about finding a lover or even finding a friend. It's about overcoming separateness by giving life and blessing it. Sexuality is an awareness of our separateness. Our sexual hungers are too wide and all encompassing to ever be fulfilled. Having sex does little to fulfill our sexuality oneness hungers. These hungers culminate in making us co creators with God. As mothers, as fathers, as artisans, as nurses, as healers, as teachers, consolers, farmers, producers, lawyers, name it. We are all co-responsible for the planet, standing with God and smiling and blessing the world. So we can open our hearts and we can open our sexuality up so as to embrace everyone. The greatest human hunger is to be completely united with all, co-responsible with the planet. Sexuality is an integral part of our soul that we need to befriend, to celebrate, to enjoy as co-creators with God, as parents, as celibates, as doctors, and as artists. Here are examples of what I mean. Look at Mother Teresa addressing the wounds of the street person in Calcutta. That is sexuality. Look at Oscar Romero giving his life in defenses for the poor. That is sexuality. Look at someone in genuine laughter caught off guard by the surprise of joy itself. Look at a table surrounded by family laughing, arguing, sharing life with each other. Look at that community around a grave, making peace with tragedy, consoling each other. That is sacred sexuality. Look at this man in a moment of service, affection, love, friendship, creativity, joy, and compassion, caught up in what is beyond that separateness from others and is overcome with joy. This elderly nun in a convent who has never slept with a man and her years of selfless service give her a smile. Look at this young man, cold and wet, but happy to have been of service, standing on a dock when he has carried an unconscious body of a child he has saved from drowning. That is sacred sexuality. Look at a mother beaming with delight at her own child that for a moment selfishness within her has given way to sheer joy of seeing her child happy. Look at an elderly couple who have made each other to have such peace with each other as they quietly share a bowl of soup, watching the sunset together. That is sacred sexuality beyond genitality. So, can we embrace experiencing body through ourselves in connection with the divine? To see sacred sexuality as a source of discovering the innermost self, because sacred sexuality is an integral part of a path of personal awakening and evolution of consciousness. Can we able to start again with a beginner's mind, redefining sex and looking beyond sex as we have known it so far? Can we make sexuality more intimate, more connected to the whole, to the body and spirit? Sexuality is the most coveted experience in modern day culture, and we need to experience more. We have missed out a lot by simply treating genitalia as sex and that as if it is all that there is. So we seek this oneness connection with the divine and with all. When we allow ourselves to transcend the narrow limited experience we've had so far, there is potential for sexuality to be transformational and life-changing. We have been expecting too little of sexuality for so long. It is a powerful, powerful energy, and we need to see it for what it really is. Because we've expected too little of sexuality for long, we need to see and to experience more of it. In other words, there is another dimension to sexuality that we have known. Sexual energy greatly enhances spiritual expression in ministry, to connect with the divine and to grow spiritually, to become more spiritual free, to create and manifest our projects and destiny, to be more in alignment with our higher spirit for healing our body and for mental health. This is the spiritual dimension to sexuality. Not only does it bring us in connection with the divine, it makes us ignite with creative powers. It makes us to get that gateway of enlightenment. It enables us to have quality of mindfulness, heightened awareness, heightened expanded consciousness. And we are able to become more cosmic and to get more cosmic experiences when we utilize sexual energy as it creates those ecstatic experiences within ourselves. For a long time, but the two of them are one. We seek connectedness with the spirit sexual energy through unhealthy use of alcohol, drugs, and smoking. But we can have it healthily by practicing meditation, yoga, prayer, and energy healing. Sexual energy experience, when we have it in our bodies, we can be able to create everything that we desire for our lives. Now, as we go to slide 11, there are two dimensions of human sexuality. Slide 11 shows us the affective dimension of sexuality, which is 99.5% of human sexuality. And this is the capacity to love and to establish ties of communion and relationship with others. It is that sensual proximity of touching, holding hands, hugging, eye contact, smiling, caressing, that expression of feelings as a child with a mother, that display of affection without sexual activity. It is that way of loving when we are caught up in the divine of love, that charity. It enables us to experience true intimacy with all in every moment. No human can live without love, without intimacy, without affection, including the celibate religious. One who has not experienced these is sour and devoid of warmth in their ministry. The different types of affective sexuality include emotional intimacy. That's where we find tenderness, compassion, handhold, care, concern, hugging, affection, that soft voice, that eye gaze, that happiness, that joy and smile. Intellectual intimacy, where we share ideas and knowledge and dreams. That spiritual intimacy, where we experience innocence, fidelity, mutuality, closeness, honesty, spiritual longings, serving, chastity, charity, oneness, faithfulness, and communion. These are the different types of affective sexuality. Psychological intimacy is also a type of affective sexuality, where we connect with the other with warmth, with acceptance no matter how they are, with trust, respect, dignity, and equality. The other dimension of human sexuality, apart from the affective dimension of sexuality that is 99.5%, is the procreative dimension of sexuality, that to do with genitalia and genitals and orgasm. And it accounts for only 0.5%. And this genitalia sexuality is fueled by the affective dimension of sexuality. Now, let us ask ourselves this one question as you get into your relationship right now. Can genitalia sexuality survive without affective sexuality? When we get to page 12, we will get the content of what we'll be sharing about in this presentation. What is sexual energy? Slide 12 has the content of what we'll be sharing. What is sacred spiritual sexuality? That concerns the affective celibate sexuality. We'll be looking at sacred spiritual sexuality that has to do with marital and intimacy. We will be looking at sacred spiritual sexuality to do with creativity, and we'll be looking at healing through sexual oneness. Now, we are going into the first area, sexual energy. What is it? I like this definition by somebody named Ronald Rahelsia. He says that sexual energy is that universal spirit energy that creates insights, intuitions, and innovations. And it is part and parcel of the universal drive for life. It is sacred life force that permeates and drives our entire universe. That beautiful, good, extremely powerful sexual energy given to us by the Creator, that is experienced in every cell of our being as an irrepressible urge to overcome our incompleteness, as the egg for union with something beyond ourselves, to move towards unity, consummation with that which is beyond us, and to find our way back to the Garden of Eden, to be shameless and without a worry. And he says that it is the pulse to celebrate and give and receive delight. He continues to say that it is the sexuality is the creator's energy inside us. It is a sacred fire. It is a force for love and life and spiritual life force that gives life. When we look at the second topic, sacred spiritual sexuality, we are on slide 17. This concerns those who are celibate. And the benefits of sacred sexuality are to awaken sexual energy to flow freely within the body, to experience a new level of connection with source, to improve personal communication with the universe, and have holistic mind, body, spirit connection with self and others, and the higher consciousness to be able to live our life's purpose and be able to fuel our ministries and our projects. What is affective celibate sexuality? Celibacy, as we understand it, is abstaining from sexual activity. Chastity, we see it as saving oneself for a particular person. And a virgin is someone who has not had sex. So celibacy has been redefined and more prevalent in our society than we actually think. Because most times when we hear the word celibacy, we think immediately of a priest, of a nun, or a monk. But today, the strict confines of celibacy have expanded. And our lifestyle has become a personal choice with varying reasons for individuals to be celibate. One, we can have chastity within deep unmarried friendships. Two, couples can take a vow of celibacy and mutual understanding for sexual chastity. Three, couples may choose to stay celibate during a start of a relationship because sex is not the only way to be intimate. Four, couples can recover from relationships and change the way to approach a new relationship. Five, some couples may be sexually active and abstain from sex for a set time. For example, before wedding, to rekindle a spiritual connection during their honeymoon. Six, some couples can have periodic abstinence within marriage. And seven, some partners make a vow of celibacy together to build their relationship in other ways. And eight, when a relationship with sex becomes unhealthy, there could be a need to evaluate its benefits. And within that time, couples can choose to abstain. And nine, priests, nuns, and monks successfully channel their sexual energy into an energy for ministry and creative endeavors into the world. Now, what is the importance of celibacy in spirituality? Can you be celibate and have a sexual life? Yes, because we have seen that affective sexuality is not only about genitalia. What are those benefits of people who are celibate? Number one, celibate sexuality improves health because the subtle energy of the sperm will nurture health. Two, it improves immunity and power of a person, and it improves mental health. Three, affective celibate sexuality benefit. It helps us to conserve physical and mental energy. Memory, willpower, and clear thinking and concentration is gotten from abstaining sometimes from the sexual act. It gives us the ability to grasp philosophical subjects with ease. Physical strength, vigor, and vitality, and courage and boldness is gotten from there. Why knowledge comes through naturally. And they tend to get photographic memory to develop that virtual nerve to remember the seen, the heard, and what they learn. It blesses us with longevity. It promotes a glow on the skin and radiance, improves hair growth, and gives attention-free life. It blesses the power of oration, the power to improve the masses. It makes it easy for the practitioner to read the mind of other persons and to cure any types of illness in others. It empowers such people to fight in difficulties and to never see a man or woman with lusty eyes. It is a source of unlimited happiness, which gives the body a feeling of freedom. Let us now go to the third area, the marital sensual intimacy between married couples. We have already seen that the affective type of sexuality can be used to make the genitalia aspects of sexuality more intimate. And especially when a partner is able to see the divine in the other. And when we get to marriage, we need to understand that when we are having sexual intercourse, not only do we exchange fluids, we also exchange energy. We exchange the energy that our partner has and all the 10 generations of the people that have lived through his ancestry. We also share the energy that our spouse or partner has had with other sexual partners. So, dear marrieds, we need to guard this genitalia sexuality with chastity so that we are faithful to our partners in order not to have energies that are coming from wherever they are coming from. When we go to the fourth and last of the dimensions of sexuality, we are looking at creative spiritual sexuality. That sexuality that enables us to create our projects, to create our life as we need it. And how we invest our creative energies is up to us as individuals and as sovereign beings. There are countless ways through which the creative genius can be birthed into us. That procreative energy of the sacred chakra can be used to create our life as we desire it. Have you ever asked yourself how these geniuses came to invent what they invented? It is all because of creative sexuality. This as an issue in our creativity. Our creative power arises from what we feel. And most times we feel it in our bodies and we feel it as an urge to have sex. And when we do that, we divert the creative energy from creating our projects into richness, and we only get into our pants. And as we have orgasm, we are depleted of that creative energy and we are not harnessing that creative energy. How can we be able to practice harnessing that energy so that when you experience that sexual urge to release, you hold it and breathe it in so that you can let it go up from the lower chakras to the higher chakras and be able to utilize it for higher spiritual functions? Now, creative works comes out of an intense and passionate involvement in what we want to create. And when we look at the fifth and very last dimension, we are on slide 42. We are looking at healing through creative spiritual sexuality. And when we look at creating and healing ourselves through sexuality, we are looking at going back to oneness. We are looking at relating, connecting in oneness with our environment and with all nature and with all creatures and with all humanity. And it reminds us that we aren't broken, we are whole. We can claim our sexual being and we can claim our sexual body and we can claim our own pleasure and claim our own desire and be more comfortable in our bodies and feel confident in expressing what we want out of our lives. Sacred sexual healing offers a way for us to dissolve our shame. It offers a way of how we can look into how we can become whole again. Slide 44 shows us sexual healing, transforming sexual energy into spiritual energy through yoga, through chakra opening, through modern psychological and neuroscience, through energy healing, prayer, and microscopic meditation. In this way, we can be able to harness sexual energy and move it through our chakras to be able to experience that healing and complete wholeness of our bodies. And there are 4 reasons why healing sexual energy is important in all aspects of our lives. 1, it helps us stay in alignment with our soul's purpose. And 2, it affects our career success. And 3, it seeks and validates and empowers us. And we unlock our true potential. 5, it creates a more diverse and free experience of life. 6, it supports our spouse and partner in being more authentic. And 7, it creates healthier intimate relationships. And 8, it helps us relax into the present moment as we become aware of the energies within our bodies. 9, Number 10, we experience life when sexual energy is allowed to flow freely to create the projects that we need. Number 10, genitals might be included, but not focused on as the only way to experience our sexuality. 11, new neural pathways will change our gene expression when we are able to harness that sexual energy and move it up to be able to have new neural pathways, new connections, and new processes. Let us intensely look at slide 46 and look at spiritual healing as divine breath. How we relate with our environment and the universal spirits permeates every immediate environment and enables us to feel freedom. We connect not only with nature, we also connect with water, with air, and with trees. Mother Earth embraces us and helps us transform our suffering and despair. And we receive its stability, its fearlessness energy as we release our tensions. Water is part of the earth, and our bodies are more than 70% water, so we are water beings. And the planet on which we live is more than 75% of water. We live on a water planet. And water is a conductor and vibration and carrier of vibration and energy. It absorbs almost every other substance that it comes into contact with. How we program the water within our environment and how we program the water within our own bodies depends on the thoughts, the emotions we feel. If they are lower energy vibrations of fear and worry, it will contaminate our bodies with sickness. If it is higher vibrations of love and peace, we will liberate our bodies with health and upgrade our body and health. The air we breathe itself is water. And this air is the life spirit that we breathe in all the time. When we look into nature, the forest atmosphere is a deeper connection to earth. These trees communicate with each other from thousands of miles away. And these trees have something special that they share with us. They have retained their oneness, but we have gone away from oneness because we have separated and sexed ourselves from that oneness by treating sex simply as through the genitals. Are we ready to heal ourselves? To get into nature and let nature remind us of who we really are as oneness with all. I like this dolphin breath meditation. It combines visualization about how the whale actually breathes. At the crown of the head of the whale, as it brings in that air, imagine yourself as you are breathing in as if you are a dolphin, and that spiritual sexual energy is coming in through your crown chakra, and it is entering your body up to the spine. And then imagine Mother Earth bringing in its energies also from the soles of your feet. As we breathe in, life force comes in from our chakra, another energy comes in from Mother Earth, and all this mixes up in our heart and it transmutes all our base, crude energies into crystalline, clear energy. Sexual energy beyond sex, and why we cultivate sexual energy. Are we ready to look beyond that dimension of sexuality that we only knew as genitalia and be able to combine that wholeness of who we really are? I hope you have gotten something from this presentation, and let's keep in touch through the YouTube. Thank you for listening. I will invite any questions that are there. Thank you.